pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will be going into executive session for legal and administrative items. I have no other changes to the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes from June 1st.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Bills in between.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Current claims.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Chairs over here.
I just got a question on what happened at 523
What page are you on?
on page 8.
This is like the third or fourth year we've done it.
Why did we do it?
And then we back it.
Pay us back.
It's a weed nuisance complaint, and our building inspection on the scandals was we contact someone to clean the property up if the property owner doesn't clean it up. And then if they don't pay the bill that we send out, then that is assessed to their property.
But he's paid it for the last.
He has paid it.
And he's going down to where the garage down 2 years ago.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Page 3, Logan transmission. One of the reasons why we bought the water department, the new pickup, is because the transmission is bad on this Dodge. Yeah, we paid $3,100 to have it redone.
That's the Ford, it was that, this is a different vehicle.
This isn't the Dodge.
No, the one that the new truck replaced was.
No, there was 2 of them. There was a Ranger and a Dodge.
I think the new truck replaced the Ford Ranger. Wasn't replacing 2 vehicles, it was just the one.
Paid 4. No, 5. Sorry. We bought a block for Doty to carry on his ankle. Why is cops carrying guns on their ankle and on their hip?
I would think it would be for safety.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I think he chose that out of his clothing allowance, if I'm not mistaken.
Each officer is allowed a certain amount of clothing allowance.
You bought that out of his clothing?
Officer Doty decided to use that money for that purpose.
Okay.
That didn't come out of his clothing line item. Should it have?
I believe so.
I believe so too.
Not for the block.
Yeah, we need to double check that, because I think it's clothing.
Page 7. We paid for travel and conference annual dues for $100. Then right down below it, it says travel for conference and membership renewal for $375, and it looks like it's the same thing.
I think one is the Black Hills Golf Association, and one is the Golf Course Superintendent Association of America. They'd be separate from each other.
So we went to both of them?
No, I believe it's a membership due.
Let's just remember
It's a professional
what's the
organization.
travel then?
That's just where it comes out of travel and conference.
Oh,
and
okay.
membership comes
Okay.
out.
Hey, Jake, Roll Readiness lawsuit. How many done with that?
The what?
Roll
We're at.
lawsuit, page 8,
We're pretty fine.
$3,256.
Claims Associates, that's the portion that, our insurance didn't cover, so we had to pay the overage.
Page
Claims
9.
Associates is our insurance company.
Before we go on, with regard to that, Kroll Ready Mix lost that suit.
Yeah.
Why are we paying?
That's why.
Our,
Those
it's
are
billed to our
expenses.
insurance, and that is what's left. That's our portion of the liability after our insurance paid.
Well, I
Right?
understand that, I understand that,
They should-
but I don't think we should be paying that bill. And I think we need to talk to our attorney about going after them for it. They lost the suit, they brought the suit. Why are we paying expenses on the suit that they brought?
Do you want to remove that?
Yes, I do. Until we talk to the attorney.
Okay.
Page 9.
Thank you for bringing that up.
No problem. A water softener. Where'd that go?
Here, Mueller Center,
What?
because he needed soft water to run his dishwasher and ice machine, I believe. Is that correct?
What?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So,
he had-
you know, they brought this to us saying they needed an ice machine and dishwasher. He never said that this expense is going to go on the whole year with different things.
Is it within their budget? Is it part of their budget?
Okay? Pliers. Okay? I don't know, since I've been here 4 years, almost every other bill has pliers on it. Tools and pliers.
Brooms or shovels,
We must have 40, 50 pair of pliers somewhere.
Probably different departments.
Where are you at, Craig?
start from fourth from the bottom. Yeah, they can that. I have the same
Well, still, I mean, they can share pliers, we've got 50 someplace, the other departments can use some of them. Because I know there's been pliers on almost every other,
What is your suggestion?
take inventory and see how many pliers we have, pass them around. Everybody, I'm sure there's enough for everybody to have us at.
Somebody needs to do a little inventory, loss control.
Page 11. Coloring books for $600? Why do we have coloring books, City Hot Springs?
That's Evans Claims.
They probably are for resale.
No, it says complimentary.
Oh.
So we're giving away coloring books now to add to our misery.
I mean, swimming in and us, we have to give them coloring books.
The money's for an advertised, it's, the amount that we pay for them is to be a part of the book. We have a little page in there, it's an advertisement. The books are complimentary, so we can give them out. And, a lot of people do take them because, with all the people traveling, they like to give their kids something to do in the car.
Okay? Page 12. Promo photos, what are those?
Say again?
100 promo photos for $150, what do we?
We have the Evans Sponge Community Swim Day, on May 23rd, I believe it was. We paid a photographer to do photography for us to use for local purposes. A lot of our,
The city has a camera?
besides that, no, we professionally have great photos from that. A lot of our photography for Evans Sponge, Craig, is quite outdated. We use photos from the early 2000s, back when the club was born. Gives us a chance to update our photography.
Where are we at?
Page 12.
12.
Second one,
Yes, we decided to publish it, budget.
second one from the bottom, annual audit for lifeguard training program. Then we send people to become life trainer or lifeguard. So what's this $900 for?
I don't know, Pedro?
With Ellison Associates, we have, annual audits come through, that's where they send somebody, and they, have the person come in and they videotape the lifeguards without telling us that they're there. After they, witness all the guards, they come, they make sure that all of our paperwork's in order, that all of our, that we've done everything right, that our training's correct, and after that, they have the lifeguards do practice scenarios, they have someone pretend that they're drowning, take them out of the water, backflow them out. We do practice, life-saving scenarios, they video record all of it, they give all of the lifeguards individual grades, and then they give us a grade as a facility.
Is this something we have to pay every year?
Yes, it is, and this is, good, we do get a copy of everything that they do. It helps us in the event that something bad were to happen at Evans Plunge. It shows that our training is proper, and it shows that our lifeguards are always at test-ready levels, so that their skills are always maintained, and that's why they don't tell us when they're coming.
How can they
Thank
teach
you.
all the lifeguards if they teach it the ones that are on duty?
Yep, it's completely random. They get all the lifeguards that are on duty that day. You don't know when they're coming, so it's something that's always in the back of their head.
Well, okay, the same page, and the next page, 12 and 13, there's over $1,000 worth of concession food, and not one piece of it was bought in Hot Springs. Why?
And concession food? Actually, we did buy some food from a local vendor. We're trying out.
Who's the local vendor? And
Oh,
why
what's
is
his
it?
name? Grand Jerky Howard Anderson. But as for the actual concessions area, we haven't restocked any of our candy because we're still looking into that. All of the food and things that we had bought had been for drinks mostly. We did follow up with checking with local stores.
About
I dropped
1,000.
off an inventory sheet to Lynn's Dakota Mart and Sunny's. Lynn's I checked with 4 times. I have it documented when I went down there. They haven't gotten me their inventory sheet back. I did get the inventory sheet back from Sunny's, and I did review those with my supervisors.
We bought $1,000 worth of drinks?
I don't remember it.
Yeah, where's the happy?
Well, if you add it up, there's 246.48, 540.75, and $275.
The 275 was local, that was the local gentleman.
Yeah, that, the 275 was the jerky I was talking about, and then the other things were
$800.
completely.
Well,
Yeah,
isn't
and
that,
the rest of it was to completely restock our drinks. It's a fairly big cooler, and also we went with the healthier alternatives. We got a lot better drinks in our fridge, and those do tend to be a little bit more.
that's resale items anyway.
Yep, we're,
Well, still should try to buy it down.
I think what Peter said already is we tried to go to Lynn, tried to go to Sunny's, and both, Sunny's got us back the price sheet. We didn't see it as competitive to go with both in that respect. Lynn's was still not heard back, so they can do that for the shop local first.
So do we do that with base too? Do we shop out of town to see if base is higher than the ones in Rapid?
No,
Then why are we doing it with,
in this
Grocery
respect, it's a
stores.
retail item. We're trying to make a profit on it. We're not selling flyers, I'll show you that much.
Did you check shop?
Shop for this.
Shop Food doesn't
They don't.
do personal orders, and I know that because I was a customer service representative up there.
okay, I just want
Any
the
other?
people that own businesses in Hot Springs to realize that we're not buying everything, even trying to buy everything.
You gotta
I do
Then
not, that's.
we went with the grocery store, even if it costs a little bit more, we went with the grocery store.
Any other
Craig,
discussion?
that's not true, we are trying to buy locally.
Yes, that we are.
Yeah, I see that.
And we're doing better than what we did 2 years ago.
Or less. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I do not have any input on communications from the public. Is there someone who is here that is?
Eric, here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Get 2 minutes.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes.
You said that you're gonna have executive session and not address whether you're gonna take the action afterwards before you adopt your agenda.
I've got a really loud fan in my ear.
Can't hear you.
I can hear you.
You're gonna take action after your executive
Possibly.
session.
Possibly. Thank you.
Again, should have been
I
noted before you
thought I noted that.
adopted.
Thanks for clarifying. Yes, we may possibly take action after this. Any other communications from the public?
question?
Only got 1 minute.
Yeah, I think it should go.
Well, that clock is, I have 7:14.
Oh, here's the box.
But but I don't think we have, if somebody wants to talk for 30 seconds. 30 seconds, Mary, I don't know if you can do that.
Yes, I can. I just wanted to say thank you to the people that will no longer be on the council for all the work they've done for us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was nice. We're gonna go into the public hearing. 7:15 hearing for use permit application submitted by Steve Simonic. One off-premise sign for USA Stay Hotel on 638 Indianapolis Avenue. I think you all got pictures last time of this location. So it's open for comments, and I see Steve here to help answer questions if you have any.
I have a question. With regard to the sign, in looking at what I saw, it said that it has a 10-foot setback from the street. Does it also have a 10-foot setback from the bypass?
It's 10 foot back from the alley.
Or,
It's 10 foot back from the alley, the setback is.
and it's right there at the bypass in the alley,
Right,
correct?
right.
How far is it set back off of the bypass?
Whatever the state will require, and it may be 10 foot, but I think I have to follow their regulation.
And
The
is
state.
it not setting right up next to a building?
Yes,
It's right at that house.
it's right at that house, and that house will
I
be,
can see 10 foot from the alley to that house.
actually, there's 12 foot. It'll be right up against the house, and that house will come out at some point. I'm using it for some of my
That's the
help
one
this
that's
summer.
up for sale and they want to get moved?
No,
Well, that's not blocked.
no, I purchased this here just recently, and that's a commercial lot, so that house is not really repairable, so at some point that'll come out when I get done using it for my summer help. So then, but it is 10 foot back from the alley.
So this will be on your personal property?
Yes.
Corporation property?
Yes, yes. And like I say, the house will come out, so it's not gonna disturb the house or anybody nearby.
We didn't see who the owner of the property was.
Oh, yeah, I'm the owner of the property.
Is it under USA Stay Hotel?
It's under Quality Real Estate, the ownership.
I had some legal questions. Did our attorney ever address them
About the sign?
on the moratorium on signs?
You have a permit from the state yet, Steve?
I will be putting the application in, and they have to approve it also.
How about the feds?
The feds don't, just the state.
To answer your question, was I was not aware there was a moratorium on signs.
I'm not sure if there is. I just remember something here a few years back that they had like a cap on it. I remember out here on Fall River Road it became an issue.
That's something the state regulates, and as I spoke to them, there's not. There are in some places in South Dakota. Custer County has certain areas in the Black Hills on main roads that they are restricted, but not on this highway.
Is that sign gonna sit right in the alley then?
It's gonna be 10 foot back
10 foot off?
on my
That alley
property.
is not vacated yet.
Pardon?
That alley is not vacated?
You know, I don't know if that alley is. I mean, there's trees growing in it, so it's
Yeah,
not, nobody travels it.
I don't know if it's officially vacated yet.
Yeah, it goes into that creek there, and there's no way of crossing, so.
But it's not gonna sit in the alley,
No.
it's actually sit
It
right
will,
before the house.
it will be attached to the edge of the house, yes. And it will be 12 foot actually from the alley. And I think you have an 18-foot alley right there, according to the plat.
Steve, I'll let you speak, but it's not going to be attached to the house.
No, it's right up against it. It's gonna look like it's attached, but it's not. To stay 12 foot, I'm gonna do 12 foot instead of 10 to give me
2 foot of cushion, so I'm gonna put it up against the house, and the reason for that is because I'm gonna take the house out, so at some point, it won't be up against the house.
How wide is an alley supposed to be there?
You have some in town that are 16 all the way up to 20 foot.
Can you check to see how wide that one's supposed to be?
That one there's, I think, 18 feet. It's only, actually, there's a big tree
Check
in
the
it.
property lines to make sure the alley's in the right spot?
I know where my property is that I purchased.
Have you had a recent survey on the
Check this
property?
Pardon?
Did you have a recent survey on the property you purchased?
Not in the last month, no. There's been one from the prior owners that I bought it from that had a survey done. And they, according to
Last
them,
3 years or?
I'm gonna say less than 5, yes. I forget what it said on the deed when they purchased, but according to their contract, their fences and everything are on their property. So, and I'm measuring from that corner of the fence, and I've got 12 feet.
Nice, the building inspector, our building official, Kim, did you look at this property, did you look at the lines and everything when you wanted to have this?
Yes,
And
it's just where he's saying it'll be, right adjacent to the house.
Any other discussion?
Looks to me like somebody's coming out of that alley is gonna be a hazard if that truly is an alley or something is ever developed in there, but it's just my opinion.
How will it be a hazard?
Because if you're pulling out of that alley trying to get on the bypass, and you've got a billboard there, you can't see through it.
It's 10 foot off the ground.
It'll be 10 feet off the ground.
That's state regulation. So you'll build,
That type of road?
yeah, you will, it won't hinder or block anything, no. Plus from the street, it's set back some too. But no, it won't block view.
Any other comments?
We'll make the lot of those right?
How big is the lot?
Actually, there's more than one lot there.
What makes the lot unbuildable from here on in?
No, it goes clear to the corner. It's a corner lot also. I think there's 3 lots, if I remember right.
How big are the lots?
I think they're 50 by 100. So this is just on the edge, so no, it's gonna be, that's why I'm locating it closer to the corner so that it is buildable when I get done. Because I intend on using it for commercial at some point. And I don't want the billboard in the middle of the lot. I'd prefer it toward the edge of the lot.
Kim, is that zone commercial? Or is it mixed use or highway?
If you look at the, write-up that I did, it says zone mixed use, and that was passed in, September of 2014, and that area was.
Yeah, that's what I
changed to
thought, it was
mixed use.
mixed use.
Do you need the city's permission before you get the state's permission?
You can go either way, but the state won't, I mean, if I have the state permit, I still can't do it until I get permission from the city. So it's easier to do it this way, and the state has to qualify it too. So this is just the first step.
Our engineer go down in front of the property line and shoot the alley to make sure it's all right? I feel better about it.
Well, the alley's in between, but is your property on the other side of the alley?
I'm on the west side of the alley, yes.
Only.
Yes.
who owns the property on the
Acres.
It's an empty lot?
It's an empty.
I didn't see one.
Well, there's more than one lot. That's an empty lot up against the street between there and Proville. Yes, there's actually 2 empty lots there.
So I would personally like to hold off on this until we have the engineer where the lines of the alley are, whether it has been vacated, or what exactly we're looking at.
This shouldn't make any difference whether it's vacated or not.
No, but it does make a difference on where the property lines are. If it's not vacated, it makes a difference where the property line is for the alley.
Right, but if it's not 10 foot back, I won't put it up. All I'm required is to set back of 10 foot. I'll guarantee you it will be more than 10 foot back. If not, then I won't put it up.
I just think we should have the engineer look at it and fire up his scope and look at it properly.
What will happen if that alley turns out to be 20 feet?
And what if it isn't?
It's not according to the plat. If you look at the plat, it's not 20 foot.
There's
And that's
lot of
done by a
alleys
professional
that
survey.
are not correct on the plat.
There's a lot of alleys that private property goes,
Yes.
mine is that way. Private property goes up the middle of the alley.
I just feel that this is one issue that we need to look at and have it right with the engineering. Because we're gonna have the state involved afterwards. I just think it needs to be looked at further.
Why can't it be approved on the stipulation that it has to be 10 foot back?
We've done too much of that in the past.
Is that a
Not doing it
motion?
anymore. That's a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor of waiting till we have the lines done out by the city engineer? You're
Huh? A survey?
He can do it, he's shot other properties.
The engineer can do it.
I'd like to see a state permit before we go ahead on that.
Well, what's on the table right now is to have the city engineer shoot the lines of the alley so we know exactly where they're at. So that's what we need to vote on, so I had a motion and a second. So,
Amend it to include a state permit? I can do that.
include a state permit. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Kim, you got the notes, I hope? Thank you. All right, Steve, we'll let you know where we're at, all right? Kim, can you get that? Just ask you to do that, all right? If someone has a 3-minute comment from the public, Chris, did you have your hand up? Or someone back there?
Yeah, I've got a question
I can
for
give
you.
you 3 minutes, all right, at the most.
Okay, my question is, I'm just curious why Debbie resigned. She's been here for 30 years.
We don't talk about administrative decisions in public,
Why? We should know.
because it's illegal. Val?
I just had two things, and that you could talk about them when it comes, but you already approved the agenda, but on the agenda you had the public safety meeting. That's the second meeting of the month, but it wasn't this month, so there won't be anything there. And second, I was just kind of curious why we're starting out some first-year employees at the Evans Plunge at such high wage brackets, considering it's city money, when they're not 18 and under 18.
First year lifeguards get paid a certain amount.
Not lifeguards, for some of the other ones.
Summer rec.
For summer, under summer rec. Under summer rec.
Oh, summer rec is. If they're returning, they get a quarter more.
And I'm not saying it's bad, I just would like to understand why, when it comes to that.
Specifics, I don't know that I can answer that, except for.
Well, people that are first years,
They get a quarter more.
people that are first years, they're under 18, why we're starting them out higher.
$8.50 is where they should be at. We set a resolution earlier this year, setting our summer rates, that included summer.
So are all the 875 people first years? It was just,
My understanding is they would be in their second year of instruction.
it's their second year, all of
They
them.
receive a quarter rate increase each year they're with us.
And that's fine, I just wanted to understand it, because I didn't think some of them were there last
The
year.
minimum wage changed quite a bit from starting.
Okay, thank you.
I need to start a public hearing here in about 10 seconds, so I'm gonna, speak for 10 seconds? We're gonna do, go to item B under hearing, so I'll get to. Use permit or review application submitted by Deborah and Matthew Wise. Request to change use of 702 Jennings from commercial to commercial residential. This was the old Bank of the West building on Jennings. It's a public hearing, so you're welcome to comment about this. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Deb Wise, just in case anybody wanted to know,
Okay, thank you.
questions or whatever, so.
Deborah's here. If you have any questions, concerns, yes.
Could we get a little information on why, when, how, all the particulars of why we're doing this, or why we're getting asked to do it?
I would just like to be able to stay in the basement part of that bank, while we're getting it up and, put a business back in there. Probably a second-hand shop.
Deborah, you bought the property a year and a half ago,
Right about that, yes.
and you've been redoing things inside to bring it to a commercial use.
We haven't altered anything that require like a
But
building.
you have been bringing product in and getting racks ready and whatever.
We will be doing that. I have not started doing that right now.
Huh?
You're talking about Milwaukee next door.
Oh, this old Bank of the West.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I got the building mixed up right next to each other.
Is there an outside door to the basement?
Yes. There's two stairwells. There's a basement area and a stairwell comes up to the front and around to the back. And there's an emergency door out the back and the front door.
Is there egress windows?
No, there's not. There's just two very large stairwells. And the lady from the code office has been out to see it.
Can you provide it to the council?
Do you want my report?
You provided a report to the council on this property.
I did. You should have the summary report in your packets. I did not put a recommendation in it, this being my first meeting, I didn't know whether I should or not. I think the most important thing, is actually the ordinance. It's written right on the first part of your page, and I put it in italics. I'll be really frank with you, we're having at the next meeting, 706 Jennings Avenue, the Napa Auto Parts store, is gonna be coming in for the exact same thing. Only she has already built her apartment, and she did so with a building permit. She did not go through the use permit process. We're trying to make everything even, so everybody's coming through. I don't think if that had happened, I would have taken this through, because in my opinion, it does not meet the ordinance as it's written, but because we have had precedents, I felt that this should come before the council for review. In my opinion, the ordinance clearly says that the dwelling units in multi-story structures, where the street or ground floor level is occupied by one of the permitted retail or business services enumerated above. Well, this is a single-story structure, as is 706 Jennings. And that any apartment would be permitted by review, but you understanding that it has to be a multi-story structure. The overall feeling that I got from reading the ordinance was that you wanted to maintain the first floor level as commercial through our commercial district, and then encourage the use of residential on the second and third floor. But before you make your determinations tonight, I do think you need to know about the adjacent property.
Thank you, Ken. I see it here, okay, Val.
Has the property, hasn't it already been being
You're
occupied
standing
residential?
with us here yet?
We have
Hasn't the
been
property-
really loud in our
has the property at 702 already been being used as residential?
We've been
Or just-
staying there.
So it has-
We've been staying there for the last month.
If they moved in, but they had got the approvals.
The problem is, we've kind of already set precedents on this a couple of times in the past. I guess it apparently met our previous code enforcement concerns, I mean, so, I don't know, we've set precedents on the matter, so I don't know how you back the card up now.
I have a concern for safety, number one. How many, are the windows at all to?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any windows at all where you're living?
No, there's no windows in the basement. There's really no windows in that entire building except for the front windows. But there's two large stairwells, one to the back and one to the front. And there's fire doors on both entrances.
Where's the one to the front?
The one to the front is the main doors. Okay, the main,
You have to go through the business.
yeah, there'd be a door there.
Ordinance 1124 states that it's for fire safety, plumbing, and electrical, the whole thing. It's number one is for your safety.
Yes.
So what we're doing is trying to make it so whoever, even if it's not you, is in that building, that they're safe.
Yes.
So if you have a door shut wherever down there, there's no other option for them to get out. So it's really a concern.
There's two doors.
Two doors, but it's just, like, do you have bedrooms where they have just a door?
It's actually more or less one large open room that's, I liken it to the first apartment I ever lived in out of college, which is basically an efficiency apartment. So there's a bed in there, there's a TV in there, there's a couch, and there's a little kitchen area. The restrooms are upstairs.
So the stairs in the front and the back of the apartment, are they both on one end, or how's the stairs?
When you,
There is,
when you walk into the building, there's a stairwell here on the side that goes down into the basement. Or you come all the way down the hallway around the corner, and there's another stairway well that goes downstairs.
and there's a back door in this place?
Yes, right there at the top of the stairwell.
Two ways out, then get some fire.
Trouble is, if we ask someone to build a new house and there's a basement or bedrooms in the basement, they gotta put an egress window in.
Yeah, but if you're restoring an old house, you don't have to. And one that's already there. If you're remodeling an existing house, you don't have to put the egress in.
If there's a bedroom.
That's true? Yeah.
What I was going to have them do, if we had gotten the approvals, was to actually move the bedroom upstairs. That way there'd be easier access out, and then they could have their living downstairs. What they wanted to do was about 25% of the first floor as apartment space as living space. I was just gonna switch them around so that we met that egress requirement for the bedroom. It would have been easy enough to do.
There's a difference between living space and bedroom space, next to an egress.
But if they're living upstairs, that don't give them much room for a second-hand store.
It's 25%, so 75%. That's what the application was for.
It's a long building, I mean, that old bank, I mean, there's a lot of room. We have two comments from the public.
Yeah, Barb and then Kara.
One concern I have is the downtown business district being somewhat altered by having someone living on the downstairs. And I know there's a precedent set, but just because a precedent set doesn't mean that it was done correctly. So you don't necessarily have to follow that. And I also have a question, if somebody remained in under, without checking this permit, and do they have a time limit where if they move in as a house, an apartment, is there a time limit within which they have to produce the business?
Within 2 years, is what the permit up, if they don't, then they're actually, they have to resubmit. Which is another question I had about home next door, but I guess it's
we can do a use permit for a year or forever.
It just has to be reviewed.
Well, I just wonder about the precedent, given the fact that we want hot springs to thrive.
And I had the same question.
Well, you know, in big cities,
Because it was a year and a half to the one.
all across America, the trend now is these people are buying these businesses, they're putting apartments in them for cost. I mean, it just makes sense. And you know, to me, and that's the other thing, at least the building's not empty. Someone's paying tax on it, they're actually doing something with it. I'm sorry, there's not people beating down our main street to open businesses. So, me personally, I guess, if Kim says it will work, I guess, from the legal standpoint, I have no problem.
I don't think that's what she said.
Kara had a comment. You guys, I'd like to try to stay in order here. Barb, and then Kara, and then Jackie.
I agree with
Then Barb.
Barb said in placing precedents, and there,
We can't hear you at all.
I agree with Barb said in placing precedents in the city ordinance, you know, adhering to the city ordinance. And also, I renovated a property in 638 University about a year and a half to 2 years ago, and it has an exit door to the rear and a door coming out to the front side of the upper level as well. And I still was required to put in egress windows for safety, so.
Thank you, Jackie.
I have a business on that same block, about 4 businesses down. And although there might not be people beating our doors down, there are businesses that are downtown. And I don't think turning that into a residential neighborhood is beneficial to any of the businesses that are down there. You know, at this point in time, some of the commercial property costs less than a home does. So if we allow 1 and then 2, and I think the precedent you're talking about is Mayor, who has a trailer in back.
There's been some.
I don't know of any other retail spaces that have been turned into a residential other than businesses upstairs.
One right next to me has no
It hasn't been approved at this point.
That's
And-
already been done.
Without approval. Jackie, what are you?
So I have to say that I'm opposed to turning commercial space into residential space. It does not do anything but deter from the existing businesses there. You know, it looks very residential. There's dish antennas out on the front. The sign, you know, where it used to be is faded, and it just looks like our downtown is failing. You know, just 1 year ago, we were doing everything we could to maintain the look of empty buildings. You know, businesses had to maintain all of this stuff for empty buildings. You had to have like a fake business in there and a sign and things in the window. And now we're having a complete turnaround. So we have code in place for a reason. That's what many of us have already gone into business for that code to be maintained.
Thanks, Jackie.
Is there actually a
Doing that.
designation in the zoning for commercial residential?
Is there what?
Is there actually a designation in the zoning ordinances for commercial residential?
Yes, but they're typically on the 2nd or 3rd floor of the building, of the commercial building.
Okay.
Maybe you could pass the fire marshal.
Kim, is that something you feel we still need to do?
No, the way I was looking at it was I wasn't going to have them go through engineering an apartment unless you folks said it was okay. I still, to be frank, I am hearing a lot of things about precedences and things like that. And I was hired to enforce the ordinance as it stands. If we're going to do things based on what precedence there was before because somebody did something else, then I think we need to rework our ordinance so that everybody has that same expectation and there'd be no worry about whether I'm interpreting it one way or the other. It would make it a whole lot easier if we just had one ordinance and followed it. This would never have come before you if it hadn't been for the next door neighbor. But you need to see this thing as a whole. As far as meeting code, as far as meeting egress, if we need to bang on a couple windows, if we need to do some changes to make it work, then we'll have to do that. But I wasn't even gonna go into that until I knew that either you guys were going to enforce the ordinance, enforce the precedent, and then change the ordinance, or something else that I'm not aware of.
If the precedent was set as this one is being set on a permit and review, we can change that precedent.
It was, the last precedent was done just by a building permit, no permit by review, which was against the ordinance
And that was,
for the building next door.
I guess, in my opinion, if we have an ordinance, we should be enforcing it, and it is for safety purposes. I really do believe it degrades property next door, all down that street to have a big building right now.
So then how are you gonna handle it next council meeting with the other people that have buildings?
By using the ordinance to enforce it.
I got a question for you. Commercial residential property, like you're talking on Main Street, does it say in that the upstairs gotta be residential, downstairs has to be commercial?
No, it says that if you have a multi-story building, you can have an apartment on the second and upper floors. Meaning that the entire thing could be commercial, or you can pick and choose and make them apartments, but on the second and above floors.
That's safe.
Did I see hand back over in that area that didn't, can't see? Oh, hi.
I struggle with the fact that, you know, they won't be able to, or they don't plan to have a bathroom in the basement where you have supposedly an apartment.
can't hear you.
Okay, the fact that there's no bathroom in the basement is a problem to me. I do like the existing ordinance as it sets. We have struggled as a community for a long time to get some cohesion in the downtown area for businesses. But once you have an apartment that doesn't even have a bathroom, it's pretty hard to separate the business with the supposed bathroom or apartment. So, I think if anything, you gotta have a bathroom in an apartment.
One thing that we've been struggling with for the last 2 years is following ordinance. And if we're not gonna follow ordinance, I don't care whether precedent was set before or not. If it was done on a permit on review, we can change that. We can call that back because we have that authority. That permit on review isn't forever. It's on review, and we can call it back. So, if we got the ordinance, we need to follow the ordinance. Open and shut case.
What about the building permit that they,
That should be redone,
they spent a year working on that building?
you know?
With the valid building permit.
The city gave them the okay a year ago.
There's probably gonna be a lawsuit. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I had an answer for the gentleman over here, and the bathroom that is upstairs. It's 14 steps. It's no different than living in a house with an upstairs and downstairs and only one bathroom in it.
Yeah, but what if
The
later
upstairs is
you've got a commercial
I don't hear.
resident that's different than the resident downstairs?
A
Or
commercial,
vice versa. You've got two different separate entities, okay? Are they gonna struggle over that use or
the
somebody
bathroom
coming
space, no,
upstairs?
there would be a separate bathroom would be installed in the commercial part of the building. For commercial, for whomever off the street would need to use the restroom or whatever.
They would use the residence bathroom?
No, sir, a different one would be put in that part of the building.
Is there a building permit for that?
Is there a building permit for that?
I haven't put in anything yet because I didn't know whether or not you guys were gonna let us do it.
Yes, sir.
Just a disagreement with you're with Kim, your building inspector. I don't
Can't hear
see
you
this,
either.
I don't see this as a unitized thing. I think you make a decision on this one issue tonight. Next time, it's a different issue, and you're gonna have to bite the bullet and make that decision at that time. You do have a code to enforce. And precedent can be set. If it's wrong, you don't do it again.
You know, going back to what Andy was talking about, there was this restroom. I remember a couple years ago, our former building inspector tried to run a business out of town because he didn't have a restroom. Well, so now are we gonna start chasing the businesses that we do have downtown? There's a couple that don't have restrooms, so are we gonna chase them out? Is that what we're gonna do? Because you guys want to adhere to code and ordinance? Well, it could be misconstrued
You know,
that way.
it's a matter of what we've said before. Either we atone to the ordinance or change it.
That's what I'm saying. We follow ordinance.
And there's no question, right?
Deb?
At least I'm trying to get a business going in there, so there's something. If I try to get that business going and not have a place to stay there, then I may as well just sell the building and let it sit empty. That's where I'm at. Because there's no way that I'm gonna look around here for a house and try to do that at the same time. That may come with time.
We want new businesses and we want to support them. And I know there are a lot of problems with this, but I think it's a bigger picture to look at than just an ordinance. When this ordinance was written, do you know?
It was written in 2007.
She said 2000.
Or did you have another comment?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't list this,
Can't close that door, thank you, Jackie.
Sorry. I said, sorry, I didn't list this information at the beginning part of the discussion, but was the original permit request as an apartment and a business or just a business?
It was from commercial to commercial residential. It currently is commercial, and the request is to
I'm
go
sorry.
to commercial.
I'm sorry,
residential.
I'm not stating myself clearly. When Deb moved into that building, was her intent to own a business there
Yes.
or to own a business and live there?
My intent was originally, when I purchased it, was to open a business in there. But homes around here are very expensive. And I felt that I might be able to live in the basement part of that while I was getting the business up and running.
Any other?
That's been my only concern, was just, you said you've only lived there for a month. And it was my understanding it's been inhabited for quite a bit longer, so that makes me question everything, just because my understanding it's been being lived in as a residence for quite some time, so it makes me
My daughter lived
worried
in there
about
for a brief period of time, but she moved out. And it was after, a considerable amount of time after that I came back in. But it was empty in between.
Well, and I didn't know who or anything, I'm just saying my concern is that it was being lived in as a residence without being permitted that way. And you just said it was only for a month, so then it makes me concerned as to some of the other discussion, is all.
You know, I do get the aspect too, that we are looking not to run business away. We want to bring business in. So, you know, we did it before, don't want to do it again, but with consideration to the fact that you bought that place to make a business, I don't, what kind, I don't care, as long as there's business in there. But
I got a question. What happens if since how you walk in the front door and you can go downstairs, what happens if she puts a business downstairs and lives upstairs? Puts a hallway so they go downstairs to the business, there's 2 exits out of it, and then she lives upstairs, that'd be legal, right?
yes, very parking in the basement.
Well, if there's 2 exits for a fire,
That would make it even more difficult, I think.
why? It said they had to live on the upper floor.
But we don't count ground floor as a story.
We're in the second or ground floor that was occupied by one of the permitted retail businesses. So it has to be the street or the ground level is the business. I guess I think we need to go by this ordinance, forget about what the precedent was. Because if we do this, we're gonna set another precedent. And we've got a lot of buildings downtown that are, the street, the main floor is empty. So if we do that with this one, then who's to say that anybody, all the rest of them can't come in here with the same thing?
Maybe we get more business.
And then pretty soon you've got residential sections even lower down.
I'm gonna go with Gary, Andy, and then back to Barb.
I agree with that. I think when you set the precedents before, you probably, it was a bad mistake in the first place. And I don't think we should follow up with more bad mistakes. And at the very least, if you're gonna do this again, don't just say, yeah, let's throw another one in the pot. Come up with some kind of a very well-defined set of rules for what you've got to have to put that place in place.
Well,
I've never seen residents on Main Street, so I don't know exactly what Wes was talking
There's
about.
all kinds of residents on Main Street. There's apartments above almost every old building.
Oh,
yeah.
We're
talking first floor.
Regulations point out, and stick to the regulations.
And
They've been in
we
place for a
discussed
long
whether we're
time.
having an apartment in the rear of this.
It's not part of the regulations. I'm just saying, if you're
I
gonna set another
understand what you're
precedent,
saying.
write it down, get it on paper and do it right. Don't
But the
just say,
problem
yeah,
is,
let's go
Jerry, the
ahead.
very next meeting, they're gonna have another situation where the
That's exactly why
building
you need to
inspector
write things
screwed up.
down. Get this written down. This is
Well-
our, and you already have it written down. Say no.
Some
This is-
no. Some won't.
Geez, you got just what you need. You got a whole bunch of
Oh, yeah, it's
text
just
that
black and
says
white.
this is what we're supposed to do, and it's black and
No,
white.
it's not.
Please don't interrupt the input from the public.
You was talking first.
Yeah, Barb.
Let's move on to
Gary,
the
have you
next.
completed your
Yeah.
comments? Thank you. Andy?
You have the potential to even lose additional businesses coming in.
Yes.
We had, I think there's a new business going in on that lineup, pretty soon.
Yes.
And, they could have changed their mind if they've got, kids running around there, and it looks like a residence block. I think we've been working too hard to get downtown looking better and cleaned up. I'm not saying a residence is gonna necessarily make it look worse, but we need to move in the right direction, And there's a lot of houses out there that are for sale, and there's a lot of houses that are for sale that aren't that expensive. I just think it's not the right direction.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to Barb, then Bob. Article
This may not be relevant, but I just wonder about the business plan. Whether the business plan was well thought out, to know that you could have owned, started up a business without living there. Just wonder about how that's going.
Did you want to share your business plan?
Not particularly.
Okay, Bob?
I've got to say that, I'm in total agreement with Carl. You've got an ordinance on the book that says if you have a multi-story building that you can have residences on the second or higher floors. This is a single-story building, so it's in violation with the ordinance as is written. So to grant this, you would either need to change the ordinance, do it on permit on review, and then review it later. There are other single-story businesses through the downtown area and on River Street where the owners live behind the businesses. They have taken other measures to meet the code. It's been stated that this building was purchased as a commercial enterprise, and later we have changed that to where we would like to live in it as well as run a business. You've got ordinances. Stick with them.
Thanks, Bob. Did I see another hand? Deb, did you? Yeah.
There is no space behind that building because it butts up to the hill. So So there's absolutely no place to put anything behind that building.
Deb, did you buy that building to live in or to run a business in?
I bought it for whatever I chose to do with it.
But your zoning on that building was as a commercial enterprise.
Yes, and
not
I'd
as a
also been
residential.
told by certain individuals that there were other residences in basements and in the backs of buildings there. And they felt that if I approached the council would probably be reasonable about it.
Okay, I'd like to, one more comment, and then I'm gonna close the hearing.
And Deb, I empathize with you, I hear what you're saying, but in the same respect, we need to respect the business owners also. In Watt and in Watertown. Our ordinance was made for a reason.
One other comment is there are no children, it's my husband and I.
All right, I'm gonna see if I got a motion here from the council.
I'll make a motion that we don't accept the use of
I'm gonna close the hearing.
Close the hearing first. I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carried.
I'll make a motion that we do not accept the use permit for residential in this building and we follow our ordinance.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carried. And that was to not allow. Okay, I'm gonna go back to communications from the public. I assume a year after the gentleman in the back, he did raise his hand before you earlier. Yes.
I just want to take a moment to thank Wes and Craig for caring enough to run for their offices and put up with a lot of the stuff that I've witnessed them putting up with. So thanks a million, you two.
Thank you.
What's that?
Two more. You had a comment earlier for communications from the public? I had to cut you off for the hearing?
About the billboard.
Oh, the Somali.
Billboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the victim earlier on, a couple of years ago, placing the billboard down on the road down there, and one of them was in front of my business, or what was my business. And I don't see the sense in putting up a billboard like that and then advertising us or some other community. I can understand if you want to advertise your business, that you need some sort of information for the pacifier, because I don't understand why you put a guy billboard up and then advertise Black Hills College or West Wyoming or any of the other places.
The billboard you're referencing might be outside city limits. One thing proposed,
No, it's not that.
one thing proposed is inside city limits to advertise Stay USA, the hot springs business. Right now, the council, I think, is moved beyond that.
I'm just making a comment.
Making a point.
Okay.
Feedback.
If it's outside the city, though, we can't do much about
I
that.
know that, I know that.
Make a point, it doesn't want to
Thank you,
shoot it
Sue.
down.
Right?
Well, it might be in the paper already. What is the ordinance this year for 4th of July and fireworks? Is it gonna be different than last year? What we were able to
I
do in,
believe it's based on the weather. I
oh,
don't know if we allow that or not.
there's, so we'll be able to shoot in town again this
We
year?
bought fireworks.
Yeah. Well, I bet
They
you,
were purchased, so.
but you'll be able to shoot at your house and in town like last year?
Oh.
Cause everybody, you could shoot anywhere last year.
There's an ordinance.
There's an ordinance that covers that too.
Yeah.
And anything that flies up over 10 foot is not legal.
But it's pretty much free reign last year, it appeared in
No, I know
town.
it was, and I complained about it.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering, was,
I tried to get fireworks for you, Ray, but it was not down.
okay, well, I didn't read anything yet for this year.
You
Last
can
year,
have snakes.
last year was fun.
The city did purchase fireworks for the 4th of July. Us shooting them off is dependent on the conditions. This year it's pretty wet, so hopefully we'll be able to shoot those off on the 4th. But as far as individuals shooting them off, that is governed by ordinance, and I don't know.
Snakes and ladybugs.
Yeah, we'll look that up and get that published. I see a hand, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up my concern again about maybe getting a crosswalk down at the intersection there between Big Bats and Dairy Queen. DOT, has put off now a couple more years for the change. And I've asked it's been a year and a half or more that I approached it, and the traffic there is just getting worse all the time. If anybody's driven by there, it's really bad. And I think we need a crosswalk, and I'm hoping like one of those button lights you push to cross, and it turns red to stop the traffic.
The city can't do that.
I know they can't, but the city's got to start it.
We proposed a crosswalk with one pedestrian island there, to have a safe haven for
They
people
want
to
an
get
island.
across. But I haven't been at some of these meetings with DOT, so I don't know what they're proposing, but we did push that. The safety committee pushed that big time because that's a high traffic area down there.
Yeah, it's very,
It
and
has been discussed with DOT, and they almost feel like it'd be more dangerous because it's such a weird intersection to have a crosswalk there without an island. So we'll have to look at that.
because I'd hate to wait to see a kid get hit and killed there before something ever gets done, so.
It's a state road, and we have, as they mentioned, talked to them about it. We have not.
Because it's been almost 2 years that I brought it up and nothing's going on. And like I said, it's just getting busier and busier all the time. And we got the big rally coming with maybe 1 million motorcycles, they're saying, in the hills. So it could get very dangerous
We
there.
can readdress it with them, but it has been addressed with DOT.
All right, thank you.
It has to go through them.
It has to go through them.
Yeah.
Any other communications from the public?
I'd like to say something. I'd like to thank the people of Ward 3 for putting their trust in me for the last 4 years. I hope I represented them well. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be done with my political career or not. There's a mayor's race maybe next year. Who knows? You just never know about these things. But I'd just like to thank the people for letting me represent for the last 4 years.
I just want to say thank you to Craig for representing Ward 1 for these last 4 years, and thank you for getting our sidewalk fixed. And I know there's a mayor's race next year, and I'm running for mayor next year.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Any other communications from the public? Yes, Harry.
Yes, I help down at the depot, and I would hope that I help at the depot in this summer, and I hope you get a sign up on the plunge, because we have a lot of people that come in there and they're looking for where the plunge is, and the only way I can tell them is that it's got the blue slide out there, because these tourists from Missouri and other places that have came here to go use the plunge and are trying to find it, because it's just got that small sign on the side. So they would like to hopefully get it done soon before we get too many more tourists in town.
All right, thank you. Any other communications from the public? All right. Personnel? Informational? Well, I don't know.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Stay.
You guys said you took down, got it, so we can agenda. Thank you.
Appointments, A, we'd like to reappoint Margaret Bartolome to the cemetery board with a term ending in 2020. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Margaret, if you're here. Ordinance, first reading, supplemental appropriation ordinance 1155. That's a donation to the parks, that's in your packet. And we're looking to appropriate that in this calendar year, 2015, as opposed to waiting until 2016.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. All for a vote. I'm gonna start with the way over here.
Yeah.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carried. And thank you to the person who donated to the harps.
Technically, your first reading
So we'll do it again. We have to do that twice. Oh. We'll do it again. All right, new business. Discussion and possible motion regarding issuing prorated refund for Evans Plum membership in the amount of $66.57 for a family who's requested a refund because of medical reasons.
Motion to approve?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I think maybe policy could be written to make it clear.
They're working on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, refund, motion carried. B, discussion and possible motion regarding changing lease agreement with Crown Castle Tower. The tower is located on Happy Hollow, it's a mobile phone cell tower.
I would,
You have information in your backup.
I would make the motion to table that until we have more information, because it's pretty vague.
I'll second the motion. We do need to have more information with regard to that.
Just gonna go to a committee or?
Well, I don't know what you mean more information, because I included 3 different options and the lease agreement that we have currently.
But we probably need to do some more research.
Yeah, our current contract doesn't.
Why are they trying to change the lease?
Because it's advantageous to them to lock in dollars now. We don't have to, they're not trying to change it, they're trying to extend it, so we can choose
They're
not
trying
to
to
sign
extend it to what?
50 more years after the end of this one.
And it's already up to 23.
Yeah.
2023.
So I would recommend wait to get more information. I would recommend that you choose not to go forward with the negotiations on this lease till we get closer to the current lease.
And I'm fine.
I would agree with that, because by then it might be shooting self in the foot, it might be worth a lot more money.
I'm glad we had a motion to table it, but I'm glad to hear the information from you
Yeah.
with regard to it. I think we should have had that in advance.
So do you want to change your motion?
I'll change my motion.
What?
To not act on it. I don't think.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to not act on the request from Crown Castle. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we are not acting on it. Motion carried. C, motion to approve change order of trickling filter for $1,893. It is a recommendation from the Public Works Committee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? We have the information. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, motion to approve temporary alcohol beverage license for CS Incorporated doing business as Winter Circle for the July Derby.
I make the motion to allow. Second.
Any discussion?
Did we do this last year? So who oversees, I guess, this? Do we have some reserve for somebody up there, or do we actually have the cops go up there and keep law and order, or what's?
For the Derby?
Yeah, for this kind of, who oversees this alcohol?
Is that, does that determine your vote?
Well,
You address that with law enforcement.
Well, I think they're there anyway, they have been in the past.
normally we make them have a kind of fenced off area, I guess, is that what they're doing for this? I mean, does anybody know, or?
Valerie should know, she's part of it.
All I know is they've never had them do fenced off at the Derby in the pit area.
We've never had beer except for last year, did we?
No, we always have.
Yeah?
We always have. And, the winner's circle does the ID banding, they do the banding. As far as having law enforcement or anything do it, your ordinance you guys adopted said that it just had to be for like street dances where they had to provide, enforcement or security. So we've never had to have, but I will say last year Mike Close was there until he had more pressing calls or something. He was there, but I think he was doing that off on his own, but I'm not sure. But in the past, until last year, there wasn't law enforcement there unless they were called.
There's no alcohol in the pits, right?
No alcohol in the pits, and that's
2 years ago, you guys did not enforce that whatsoever.
Don't say you guys.
Or the bikers association.
Yes, I will say that
Part of this.
the no alcohol in the pits,
And we're talking about a permit for
Let them do. Serve
well,
alcohol.
alcohol in the pits he makes a good point. It's really important that the people in the pits aren't drunk and drinking and puts a lot of people in danger and everything else. And the year you were talking about, to my knowledge, we have always done everything in our power. I try to sit right there by the gate to stop that. However, there was a gentleman on a four-wheeler who wasn't affiliated with either, but by past association was thought to, who apparently you saw doing it. But I do everything in my power, and last year I made a special attempt with that particular individual to make sure it didn't happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor allowing Winter Circle to have a temporary alcoholic beverage license for the 4th of July Derby?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. E, temporary alcoholic beverage license for a wedding at the Mueller Center on the 18th of July.
Make that motion?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion regarding neighborhood works property at 23rd, North 23rd in Washington. This is adjacent to the Dakota Land Trust property.
That was me. I guess I was just kind of looking for an update. What's going on there? We got weeds about 5 foot tall, and I guess no progress.
Can we take that back and sell the property?
Probably not easily.
Well, then they should be doing something.
I don't know what was in the contract when it was given to them. We have to look at that.
I think we should have a legal look at it.
Yep.
Well, in the minutes, it was May 20th, 2013, the 33rd minute movie or video. It was a communication from the public. I believe it was the tracking was still interested in the presentation. And in communication with the public, the council did vote to give them that land without any stipulations attached to it.
And I think what I remember too is I have heard that they've had soil tests, other things, so I don't know what all going on.
They still need to mow.
Yeah, I did put in a call to have them take care of their property. Nobody did answer, but at the message, we're waiting to hear back from them to maintain their property. But as it was in the minutes, it was given without stipulations, they built at a certain time.
No caveats.
They actually continue to transfer property that have that stipulation in it. It was just a motion made in the council meeting. I'm not looking at the transfer of property, how that came to be, but just the motion, there was no discussion of must build by.
So I guess maybe have our attorney look at it and ask them if they have anything in the future, or if we're just gonna let it sit idle and no taxes, or what's going on there.
Do we want to spend the money to have the attorney look at it? Thank Thanks, Nolan, for looking into that. You did Millville, right?
I've talked with them, they promised me.
They did, okay.
But,
They promised to build?
no, not that.
We'll work on that.
One thing at a time.
Any other discussion on item F? Item G, this is to approve a replat, Rita Track Block 7. Green packages.
This is a pretty simple replat, just trying to merge some lots together to create a building lot so that, folks can build a house. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you, Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We do have a Mylar to sign.
Oh, okay. Motion carries, by the way. You're just waiting for that, aren't you?
They came in here and they brought
Please, thank you, council. All right, item H, we'd like to set a public hearing on July 6th at 7:15 p.m. for a use permit on review by Lori Simeon, a windshield repair business at 1302 Sherman Avenue.
I'll make a motion to set the
Second.
Any discussion?
Ask for a business plan, what she's planning to do, exactly where. I want to. I know, Don, you talked to the building, you back on 95 Rock, and exactly where
I'd like to see business
you
plan.
could offer.
So if we set the hearing, we'll ask her to talk about it then? Yeah.
I'll contact her ahead of time to make sure she's prepared.
Thank you. So all in.
Is it sold properly?
It is.
Okay.
So with the request to have a business plan at the hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item I, motion to set a public hearing on July 6th at 7:30. Use permit on review for Bonnie Brayton to use change, museum and residential use in rear portion of commercial property at 706 Jennings Avenue.
Motion to approve? I think you have to take it to a hearing.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Two hearings on the 6th. Old business, discussion on the current use of the Armory building. Wes, is this you?
Yep, that was me. We kicked this thing around for a couple of years, and I guess I'm just kind of wondering if any committee or anybody's been working on a plan for this building. I mean, it's sitting up there in limbo again, once
No,
again.
it's not.
It's not?
No, it's not.
Oh, we're storing a spin doctor in there, I'm sorry.
Storm water department.
I was just in there, going in there to spin doctor.
I just talked to the guys at noon today.
Well, anyway, I just don't see it as a good use for this building. I mean, to me, it should be sold to a private individual, put back on the tax rolls. That's just me, because the city's never gonna have enough money doing with it. So unless there's a plan that I'm not aware of, I guess I was just curious if, what was going on with it.
Well, we have a few properties that we need to look at, the possibility of selling, whether the council decides on this one or not.
Well, the Farkas Council made a motion quite a while back to sell some property out in Hot Brook Canyon, and it's never been acted on. So I don't know how that even works. I mean, well, once a council makes a motion and it's agreed upon, and it's never followed through, I don't know what happens in a deal like that.
There's a lot of properties over
Water shop.
Yeah, better than.
It hadn't been for the last 3 years. We,
Water shop.
So do we wanna continue discussion on the armory building?
well, I guess I'd just like for the public to have some kind of plan eventually. I mean,
I guess right now, don't we have a use permit to use it as a water?
Storage, indoor
What?
storage.
Use permit on review.
but not to make a water department.
Kim?
I think this is,
Storage.
I think this is a good opportunity to look at it. One of my goals for this upcoming year is to, start up kind of an update to our comprehensive plan, looking at some of the things like city-owned properties, how are we gonna be doing things like this, and we're gonna be having some public meetings. So I think that might be a good time to solicit some ideas, to start trying to create some plans. What's gonna happen around Butler Park? We have the library there. Is there some other function that we can put along with that and make it more of a complex? So there's all sorts of things that we could be doing, but it's part of a planning process that should happen within the community and then brought with consensus to the council. So I think as part of our planning for the city in the upcoming years, that might be one of the things that we discuss.
Well, we actually paid for a parks plan, and we discussed that building, including that. And at that time, it was left out because of money issues. So it really isn't included in the parks plan.
Well, that's in the Butler Park plan, but we're gonna be doing a citywide overall comprehensive plan that's gonna include everything from economic development, transportation, sustainable use, any type of thing, so that we'll be looking at it. And I hope to see you in the public
Oh, you
hearing.
will, trust me.
Yeah, that's actually required. We haven't done our comprehensive plan, so it's quite different than the parks
A master,
plan.
it's quite a bit different than a master plan.
All right, any other discussion on the armory building or related to this? All right. Item B, Kim, do you wanna just give us the update on item B?
At 945 North 24th Street.
Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. Clayton come in to talk with me today. I had sent him the agenda, making sure that he would be aware that we were going to be discussing this tonight. He came in and requested that we be given one more chance, but we're going to be kind of doing it the way that I have learned to do, that I find very effective. I'm going to be spending Friday afternoon with him. We're going to be going over every aspect of his property of what's not in compliance. We're going to be setting down a list of things and due deadlines so that he has to meet milestones. And with an end date, we will sign it as a contract. With that, I have found that when it does then come before the council and you determine whether or not you want to take legal action, this actually stands really, really well in court because it's something that's been agreed upon, something that isn't heavy-handed upon one person from a government agency. It's been really, really well received by the government. So, he and I are going to be meeting for about an hour, maybe longer on Friday. I can have an update for you at the next council meeting on that signed agreement. And if it meets your approval, then we can continue on with that.
Thank you, Kim. So you'll report to us on the 6th of July?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Thank you. Item C, I believe, is completed, but this is on the agenda. Somebody want to discuss it?
I see. That's not yet completed.
Clayton Massey?
338 right there.
This is 1638 Canton on my agenda.
I don't have the approved street.
338 North Third.
Well, I don't have the latest one, huh? I'll look at, all right, item C is 338 North Third Street. I get many versions before we're done, so.
I've
Don't
gone
fault
out
anyone
and
here.
photographed this one. It's still getting dumping on this property. It's a absentee landowner. He's in California. The property is unsecured. There are broken windows.
apparently people are dumping there because obviously this is not from the owner. There's everything from just regular debris, appliances, as well as food, which gets to be a real health issue. It's a problem there. So I would like to consider this as a life safety health.
And we've contacted the owner, correct? Kim?
Correct.
And they're aware of the
We've
situation.
tried to call, the calls have not gone through. I've sent mail to where he gets his taxes, and we've not received anything back. So we're just trying to do our best to try and locate him.
Did you send it certified mail?
We did,
We didn't get the green card back?
nothing yet.
I'll make a motion that we start cleaning and discuss the property.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Clean up the property, all right, thank you. Committee reports, Carl? You weren't there. Georgia?
We met on Wednesday, June 10th, and we had the assistant finance officer resignation that was brought forth. And we decided to advertise and go through the state job service to use our job description. And Nolan wrote that up and gave us a good thorough job description. We have a form that we are going to use for streets departments, compensation and job descriptions. It was a new form that we'd like to use for anybody that was request increase in their, I guess, citywide. And it had started out with our street department, because they were looking at CDLs, but we're going to require a new form that to be used. And if you feel like your job description doesn't state what you're doing, that could include an increase in a wage. Nolan did present the Evans Plunge local and reviewed that. We have Valerie Henry there, and she requested censorship of some of our videos that we present because we've had some issues that could cause problems. And she did give us the FCC laws, and we're looking into that a little bit more. So I guess a caution to public: do not say something foul language or whatever. You're on TV. You can be censored. We did look at the pamphlet for the city information, and I think everyone got that passed around by me, and then we're looking at a different form of it. But that we're going to wait till next time to look at. For those of you, I guess, going on, so we're going to get to vote on it. We do have an issue with our budget because of the cost of the auditors and how the funds will be paid for this right now. We have sick leave and annual leave that will be taken out of that fund right now, so that will be evaluated. So those are the things we talked about.
Thanks, George.
Can I ask you a question, or are you guys working on some kind of contingency for the seventh plunge, or is that something you're kind of working on, or? Contingency plan, something to make it work, something to try to figure out a way to make this thing jive, or?
A different plan.
Well, you've been kind of against, like, even changing the hours to try to control costs, so I guess I was just kind of curious if.
Evans Plunge has a budget, just like the other.
I know it does, but to date, we've spent about $230-some thousand out of sales tax money to keep this thing going, so I guess I'm asking, is somebody working on something to help
I think
control costs?
you need to look at how the money comes in.
I am,
And the
sales
money
tax.
comes- But, you know,
Georgia revenues,
just a minute, Wes. The
revenues
money
and
comes in
expenditures
the
are not
summer.
jiving,
Just a minute, Wes, because the money comes in the summer, you know.
and you can see last year, we were short, even after the summer. You got all the same paperwork I did.
Wes, I'll speak for the city, and yes, we're absolutely looking at that, and that's why we asked you to address the hours, which was addressed 2 weeks ago by this council. We appreciate that.
had a meeting with the manager on today, and he showed me paperwork that were $61,000 off from opening first year to this point in the second year, that we're $61,000 down in revenue versus expenses.
We're still short though. We're still way short.
And we're only a year and a half into it. It takes 5 years for a business to work. You know that as well as I do.
Well, I guess I'm just asking if someone is putting a contingency together.
I don't believe we're putting a contingency together. They have a budget to work with.
I realize that.
That's like the other departments.
All right. Thank you. Craig, I assume you guys did. Okay. George, you? Yeah. All right. Caroline, did you listen?
Maybe, talked to Brian Chalmers. I said, Kim, that was down in our building, and she's gonna be working on them, with them, and she's going to review Scott's, records, and they approved, a hardware sign.
Oh. Thank you, Caroline. Jay? Wes?
Yes, we had a meeting. We met with, can't remember her name, it's John Graff's sister, and, Therese. And, they're wanting to put a park memorial plaque out there, so we're kind of in works on that. We had an update on the Brookside Park. We got the playground, the main playground equipment in. We're still got some other pieces to add to it. The parks guys have been busy trying to get things mulched. They haven't got it finished up. But, we had a little update on the green spaces and the signage. We had an update on the Adopt a Park. I don't remember what this tree removal. Oh, that was an update about the DOC helping. We also we discussed the Umaker Park Community Garden proposal, which I guess I would like to see something from Mr. Umaker and Skip to see, I guess, if this is even something that they had in mind before this even goes any further, but it's just me, of course. We discussed having Tracy do some engineering on the basketball courts to see costs on paving and to maybe add some more practice courts. We had a $1,000 donation from a gracious donor to the park system. It's in here to talk about that. And we had a review of Colbert Park and discussed maybe using the money out there. And we discussed the location of the veteran sign at the Centennial Park. And I think that's still kind of in the works too. I believe that was it.
Thank you, Wes. The public safety meeting was deferred because of the call out. However, the chief did attend a certification graduation last Friday. We had another certified officer. Warford's his last name, Jason Warford. So, for the moment, we are fully staffed in our police department for the first time, and I don't even know how long. So, I'm happy about that. Dwight, Public Works.
Meeting June 9th, 2 o'clock at City Hall. We discussed the water loading dock again. Lorna Waldron was upset with us at the new location for the loading dock. She didn't feel we gave her due diligence where we're putting this. I personally feel that this is the best spot for the loading dock. I hope the future council decides to keep it there. There's a drainage problem by the American Legion that Tracy's got a little boring machine. We got to put a pipe under the sidewalk. We got water standing there when it rains. Garden Street project is 2/3 complete. It's sure not going as fast as I would like to see it, but it is moving along. Discuss the change order on the trickle filter. We approved tonight. Tracy has invited engineering firms to give quotes for assistance in developing installation drawings and specification for the proposed sludge dewatering device in the sewer plant. That's going to be June 16th. We discussed Elsie Hill being closed and the conditions of Elsie Hill. Mayor, do you have an update on that?
So it was opened up this morning. We had to wait for concrete to dry.
Okay. And cleanup days for the entire town are the 22nd through the 26th. So everybody take advantage of that, clean your yards up. And, I'd like to thank the residents of Ward 4 for letting me serve 2 terms.
We're glad to have you in Ward 4.
Finance officer report, Ms. Stevens.
Right.
You had a busy week last week.
I did. It's been an interesting few weeks. The election's over, and I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank those people that aren't coming back to serve on the council. You'll definitely be missed, and the time that I've gotten to work with you, I've appreciated. And I also want to take just a moment to welcome the new council members that we'll have, and we're excited for the opportunity to work with you and keep moving Hot Springs forward. I'm happy the election's over, although I'll miss some people, and I'm excited to have some new people to work with. I did just come back from finance officer school. I got to spend the last 3 days of last week with peers in Pure, learning about all things finance officer related. It was very difficult for me to leave when I did, receiving news of a recent resignation, which I said I wouldn't get emotional over, but the city will be losing one of the hardest workers I think they've ever had. And so I'm glad I went to the school. The next thing I just want to say is that these are challenging jobs that we have. And I know that everyone has issues that are important to them and they're passionate about, but please remember that we're people. And we're doing the best we can. So the treatment of council members and city employees from all of us is something that we really need to take a moment and think before we speak. And if we're not being positive and adding some kind of benefit to something, maybe not saying it or choosing to take a breath and think of a better way to say it, because it is a difficult job and not all of us have to work. So when we're given the choice to work in an environment that's somewhat toxic or just stay home, the choice is pretty easy to make. So I just wanted to get that out there with all of the things that we've been going through and all the people that are passionate and care. We respect you. Council members and citizens, but remember that we're only human and we're doing the best we can. I hope that I can even do half of the work in her absence that she was able to get done by herself.
Thanks, Ms. Stevens. City administrator report.
So, I'm gonna say this many times between now and this July 24th. I want to strongly encourage anyone in the audience, or if you know of anybody that is seeking funding from the City of Hot Springs, to complete our donation request form before we go into budgeting. The forms are available at City Hall. The deadline to return those forms is July 24th. Without that form, we will not consider donations for your organization. For the year, yes, sorry, not just at the time, but for the year. So this is kind of a turning point for the city, trying to hold, ourselves accountable with the public's money in hand. The second item is Evans Plunge submitted a grant to the South Dakota Department of Health for a healthy snacking initiative. So if awarded this grant, then Evans Plunge will receive free on-site consultation as to how our food options we offer at the snack bar can be made healthier for our guests. The grant also provides $1,000 for signage, product, and other items to enable us to transition to offer a healthier vending and food operation at Evans Plunge. I think Perry, is he still? You might step up. So the CDO, the Cultural Development Organization, has selected Evans Plunge for the next site. Oh, is out in the hallway.
Harry? Yes.
Speaking to his concern. The CDO has selected Evans Plunge to be the site of the next city mural, or the next mural in the city. And their call for artists, or their request for proposals, ends today. After that, we'll work with Diane Gross with the organization, the city, and help identify an artist. And we'll start remaking the exterior of Evans Plunge. We did budget in 2015 to do some landscaping. That does not include the mural cost. That's a donation from the CDO. We do get a hand in the design process. So with the landscaping and the mural, we'll definitely have some better curb appeal for tourists. It might not happen as immediate as we'd like it to see, especially now we're kind of mid-swing in the tourist season, but it will happen, so please be patient. Once it's done, it'll certainly be alluring for those driving by and those in the area. This weekend, that's why we're in here, is the Miss South Dakota pageant. So I want to thank everybody in this room, or if you know people that have helped out, that have contributed their time, their talent, their financial resources to bring this pageant back to Hot Springs to make it a success. I know it means so much to our community to have it here. There's so many other spaces in the Black Hills and statewide that can host it, but I'm grateful that we get to have it here in Hot Springs. And so if you guys see anybody out and about supporting the pageant, be sure to thank them because it really does mean a lot to our businesses, to our identity, to our community. If you have not already, this was in last week's Star, please sign up for the Nixle Emergency Alert Service. If you do text message or email, this is a place to go to get emergency notifications for our community. So if there's any emergency alerts, whether it be a missing child or road closures, this is the chance to get a text update or an email update. For more information, feel free to contact City Hall, visit our Facebook page, go to our website, city website, our police page, plenty of details there. Like I already mentioned, this next week is dump week at the city's maintenance shop, so definitely consult with our forms and see what we do not take. We do not take household trash. So please leave that at home. We'll take other rubbish, but not household trash. And I think it's been talked about before already, but June 26th is the end of an era for our assistant finance officer. She's been with us now over 35 years, and I've only worked with you a few months. I wish it was much longer, so thank you for the service you've done before I got here, while I was here, and all you've done for the city of Hot Springs.
And I do want to let you know that it is with regret that I accept your resignation. We've been through some really tough times, especially right after Harley passed away, and I really do appreciate you stepping up and keeping payroll going and keeping our bills paid. And just as a personal note, you have a beautiful smile that I will miss, and a sweet demeanor, and we will miss you at City Hall. I guarantee you that.
Thank you very much.
That said, leave your phone on. Leave your phone on.
She's still here for a little bit longer, but it is the last council meeting. And Debbie is a very hard worker. I agree with everything Misty said there.
And good luck with whatever you do in the future.
Yes.
What are
We
you
don't know what
gonna
to do.
Enjoy.
Summer, enjoy your summer. Elseyville is open. It was closed because of a very large boulder. If you didn't see it on Facebook, it's quite interesting how large of a boulder we took down and broke up, and we just saw that as a dangerous situation. So Elseyville is a much safer place to drive along and enjoy the view there. I also want to thank Dwight, Craig, and Wes. We don't always agree, but I really do appreciate the experience that you guys brought to the table, and the history and your dedication to the city, and just want to really thank you guys, and it'll be a whole different council next time, so you will be missed. I also want to thank ACE for their letter. We won't go into it, but I did want to let the Slagles know I appreciate the letter we received from you, and congratulations on being Small Business of the Year. Can't say it enough, next week is cleanup week at the MRF. Please feel free to take your non-household items to the dump next week. That's all I have, and we do need to go into executive
We
session.
do have a meeting the 24th,
Oh, yeah. The two hearings on the Rotary, right? So, remind me the time.
So 8 AM, June 24th, at City Hall, there's a special meeting of the council reviewing two items. They're both temporary alcohol permits for the Rotary Club. One's for the street dance on the 3rd of July, and one's for the Art in the Park the weekend after this one. That's June 24th, 8 AM, open to the public. Very short meeting, very short agenda.
At City Hall. Thank you, Nolan. Yeah. All right, that is all.
Motion to go into executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all for being here.